the latest episode of Cooking with Coach. Today, we're going to make a twist on the monster cookie. We call it the protein patty. Now, when you're cooking with Coach, you got to make food that is somewhat healthy. So we flip the name a little bit and call it the protein patty. Now, our protein patties that we make have some little different ingredients in it. Instead of using regular creamy peanut butter, we use extra crunchy peanut butter. And instead of using just your basic chocolate chips and M&Ms, we add some Reese's Pieces to add a little extra peanut butter flair to our protein patties. Now, these protein patties are pretty amazing because they're healthy, because they're protein patties. They can be enjoyed after breakfast, after lunch, or after a workout. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. We're now ready to start adding our ingredients to our industrial strength KitchenAid mixer. Now, it's very important that you add these ingredients in the proper order. We're going to start by adding in a half cup of butter, which equals 1 stick of butter. Now, that butter needs to be melted for about 10 seconds in the microwave prior to adding it. As you can see, our butter doesn't want to come out of the package. It's struggling a little bit. So we got our butter in. Then we're going to add in our peanut butter. We've already measured out our crunchy peanut butter. We have about 1.5 cups here. We're going to slap that on in. And then we're going to turn our industrial strength mixer on to gear 2. And we're going to start mixing. So we got that mixing. Now we're going to add our brown sugar and our white sugar. Get peanut butter on your finger. You might as well just lick it. So we're going to add 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of white sugar. Starting with our white sugar. Ready, assistant? Adding in our cup of white sugar and a cup of brown sugar. Now, with the brown sugar, we gotta make sure that we pack it. It's gonna be a little interesting. And once we get our cup of brown sugar, we're going to add that in as well. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. It's now time to add our eggs. We have 2 eggs that we're going to add. Now, when you're an amateur cook, not like myself, but maybe like my assistant, it's always good to probably crack your eggs in a bowl. That way, if you get some eggshell in there, you can scoop it on out. So we're going to crack our egg into the bowl. Like a professional, no shell in. Egg number 2, like a professional, no shell in. And good old egg number 3, like a professional, no shell in. Now, if you remember back to episode 1, we made the Wisconsin style chicken and waffles. I showed you a way to pull the eggshell out if you do happen to get eggshell in with your eggs. I've had a lot of phone calls and conversations with people since then. And I guess there's another way to do it. I think my way is the best way, but you can also take your eggshell in and scoop it on out that way as well. It's usually best just using a good old finger or a spoon. So now that we have our eggs cracked, no shell in, we just have the yolk and the egg white, we're going to add it into our mixer. And we're going to crank her on up to a number 2 again and get her mixing. It's now time to add some of our very special important ingredients. They're the tiniest ingredients. That's our vanilla extract and our baking soda. it's very important that you add your vanilla first. Not exactly sure why, but we got to add that first. So we're going to add 2 teaspoons. We're going to do that by using the half cup, so that means we got to go 4 times. Because 4 halves equals 2 wholes. 1. I'm going to be very precise in our measurements. 2. Oh, 3. There's 4 right there. And we're going to start our mixer and get that up and running. Now we got to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. One teaspoon. And 2 teaspoons. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. We have all the ingredients in except for a couple of key ones. That's the oatmeal and then our chocolate and peanut butter candies. So we got to add 4.5 cups of oatmeal. Now you can use your oatmeal of choice. If you're a Quaker oatmeal guy, go ahead and use Quaker. If it doesn't matter, just use whatever's in the cupboard. So there's 1. Now we're going to let that mixer work that oatmeal into our nice peanut buttery mixture, and we'll be ready to add the chocolate to it. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. It's now time to get our oven nice and warm so that way we can start baking our protein patties. We got to turn our oven on to 325 degrees. So we're going to get her up and running, start warming that thing up. Now as a cooking tip for you, if you remember back when we made our Wisconsin style chicken and waffles, when we baked that nice crispy chicken in the oven, we put tin foil on the pan so that way we didn't have to clean the pan afterwards. You can do the same type of thing when you make protein patties, but instead of using tin foil, you use parchment paper and you lay that on your cooking sheet. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. We're now getting close to putting our protein patties in the oven, but before we do that, we got to add our chocolates in. So we're first going to add a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips in. And we're going to mix this by hand because I'll tell you about that in a second. You ready, assistant? Yeah. We're also going to add in a 1/2 cup of Reese's Pieces to add a little bit more of that peanut buttery flavor. You ready? Yep. And finally, we're going to add the M&Ms. Once again, about a 1/2 cup. Now, as my assistant here mixes it all together, let's do another cooking tip. When you're making protein patties, you want to mix by hand all of your M&Ms, Reese's Pieces, and chocolate chips in, because then they don't get crushed. If you use them with a good old KitchenAid mixer, they're going to get crushed. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. We are now ready to take our batter and put it onto our cooking sheets with the parchment paper on it. Now, before we do that, any good world-class chef always tastes his dough before he starts to bake it. So it's always good to take a clean spoonful and taste test it. That allows you to make sure you got the right mixture of butter, peanut butter, Reese's Pieces, chocolate chips, and M&Ms. So we're going to take our ice cream scoop here and take a level pack down, whatever you want to call it, and put it on the pan. We're going to have some space in between because these things are going to spread out. Put about 2 in a row. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. We got one more cooking tip for you before we put these bad boys in the oven and start baking them. Now these are the mini version. Now if you don't want to waste movement and energy and calories by having to eat lots of little ones, you can make the giant size one. And to do that, you take a 1/4 cup measuring cup, fill it on full of the batter, and plop her on down. And plop her on down. Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. As you can see, we have our protein patties all ready to be placed in the oven. So we're going to take each of these cookie sheets and we're going to put them in the oven. Again, we have it set at 325. And we're going to put them in for approximately 8 minutes. Now a very important cooking tip for you when you're making protein patties. You do not want to overbake these things. So you want to watch them very carefully. You want them to be in there probably no more than 8 to 9 minutes. We want to pull them out at that time because we want them to be nice and soft. They're going to be pretty gooey when you pull them out of the oven, but when they cool, they will be delicious.
Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. It's now time for that ever-popular segment called the Halftime Speech with Coach Hansen. Today our topic is the value of the protein patty. These monster cookies, as some people call them, transform into a very healthy snack for you if you just change the name to protein patty. And you see by the ingredients that we put in them, all the peanut butter that is in them, with that little bit of chocolate to make them really yummy and tasty, they can replace any type of protein bar or granola bar that you may buy in the store. You can make your own. Now, some people may wonder how Coach Hansen can stay out healthy on the road doing all these cooking shows. It has to do with making sure I have plenty of vitamin C and a nice glass of orange juice. Now, as always, the best orange juice comes in a nice Kansas City Chief glass.
Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. It's now time to pull our protein patties out of the oven. Now, as I said in our segment prior, they're going to look like they're a little gooey-ooey when we pull them out, but that's okay. They'll set up nice when they cool, and they'll be nice and tasty. So we're going to pull out the two pans. You can see the size difference between the minis and the mega. Again, some people would like to just have a mega, one mega instead of 2 or 3 minis. Then we're going to throw another pan in. Now, welcome back to Cooking with Coach. Now we have more protein patties in the oven, and they're baking. And we've got our first set all nice and cool and ready to put on to take off the cookie sheet and put on the wrap. So we're going to pull those cookies off. Now these versatile, healthy protein patties can be taken on the road with you. If you bag them up individually in your nice Ziploc bag, you can take them with you as you go to the gym to work out and you travel around the area. And when other people are eating unhealthy, let's say French fries from McDonald's, you can enjoy your healthy protein patty